Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Kurt on Cougs. I know it's been a minute, but yeah, some pretty exciting stuff has happened recently, so we're going to dive right in. Today's video is specifically focusing on my reaction to the new AP Top 25. Very excited about that. But first, a few other things. First of all, BYU women's soccer has wrapped up their exhibition matchups. They beat Southern Utah 4-1 and then tied with Utah Tech. And they play against number 24 Minnesota. I'm not sure if that's home or on the road. Forgot to check that. But they'll be playing that game on Wednesday. So that'll be kind of our first real test against a high-quality team. My reaction to these, first of all, the game against Southern Utah, very good, very nice. They did great in that one. Time with Utah Tech, maybe a little concerning. Overall, though, once again, this is just an exhibition game. Your starters aren't going to get full minutes. So I don't put too much stock into it. I feel really good about this team. It's a team that returns a lot of talent from last year, with the exception of Ali Fryer, who's out for the season due to a surgery. So that's definitely a big hit right there. You definitely don't want to be losing her at this stage. But I feel like this team has a lot of potential. This is a team that got out in the first round of last year's tournament in the NCAAs. This is a team that is projected to be third in the conference, and they aren't playing either of the top two teams, TCU and Texas Tech. So this is a team that I feel like has every ability to be able to have a big year this year and, yeah, make a deep run in the tournament at the end of the season. So very, very excited about that. Also, over this weekend, we had our first full week of NFL preseason games. Notable achievements for Cougars. Keaton Slovis and Zach Wilson both got pretty significant time for their teams, the Dolphins and the Texans. Also, Tyler Batty had a nice pass deflection that led to an interception. So, yeah, and there were a few other guys that got tackles, things like that. Ultimately, a pretty solid week. We'll hopefully see more and more as we lead up to the season. Of course, some of the more prominent Cougs aren't going to be playing in a whole lot of preseason games. Guys like Tyler Algier and Kyle Van Noy are more starter type guys, so they will, they'll probably step in once the regular season starts. So excited to see how they all do. Also, BYU football had their first scrimmage of fall camp. From all reports, the defense won it. Great to hear for the defense. And honestly, for the offense at this point, where you've been splitting reps with the quarterbacks, so trying to figure that all out, I think that's fine, just as long as you're ready by the start of the season. Also, Aaron Roderick has said that the time for equal reps is quickly coming to an end. Also, they are expecting to announce the starter before game day this year. So that will be fun to see. One last note before we dive into these top 25, talk about them, is Farron gets named on ESPN's second team All-American preseason. So that's pretty exciting right there. Of course, how will this all hold up? Once again, preseason rankings and stuff like that, we hardly know anything about these teams. We just like to pretend we do. That's why I'm reacting to this list. So here we go. I'm going to go just in sets of 5. So we're going to go top 5, then 6 through 10, 11 through 15. You get the idea. So the top 5 are Texas, Penn State, Oklahoma State, Clemson, and Georgia. Honestly, pretty solid. I feel pretty decent about this. Also, just to be clear, I have seen this list before. I have been thinking about it. This isn't my first time reading it, so yeah. So, okay, first of all, Texas is at number 1. I love it. I think that's pretty good. I mean, I feel like that is investing a lot of stock into Arch Manning. How good is he going to be? He hasn't had a whole lot of college experience, so I don't know how much we can judge, but tons of potential. Sky's the limit. If he goes out there, he plays up to that potential. Very high likelihood that we see Texas as a serious national title contender. So I like that one. Penn State next. This is big for them. They've been kind of that program that's been looking for a breakthrough for a minute. Last year made the national semifinals. I like that. Ohio State next. Ohio State, dangerous team, defending national champs. They lost a few key guys, but still bring back overall a stacked roster. Very excited to see what the Buckeyes are like this season. Okay, this next one is one that makes me maybe question the most, which is Clemson at number 4. Now look, I get that Clemson returns a lot of experience, also made some solid additions in the offseason. Once again, that was a team that barely barely made the playoff, literally just by virtue of their victory over SMU in the ACC title game. So I personally would rank Clemson lower. I know their quarterback really good, potential Heisman candidate type guy. But overall, I feel like it's a big jump to take this team, who was the 12th seed last year, got beat pretty good in that game, and saying they're going to be top 4 this year. I think that's a little bit too much of a jump for me. But we'll see. I like this team. Once again, sky's the limit. I just don't know if they'll reach it or not. And then Georgia at number 5, probably a pretty safe bet. You pretty much always want to have Georgia in your top 5. They've been really good these past few years. All right, jumping on to the next 5. Notre Dame, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, and Miami. First of all, Notre Dame, this is a team that went to the national title game last year. I feel good about that one. Oregon is, I don't know, I thought this is a team that maybe could be a little higher. They had a whole ton of talent last year. Lost a little bit of it, but still brings back a lot. This was a team that, I think Oregon went into the CFP ranked number 1, so yeah, I don't know. I think Oregon could be really good, though. I'm excited to see what they do. Alabama next. I know they're replacing Jalen Milroe, so that could be interesting to see how that goes. Once again, though, they're Alabama. They seem to go through quarterbacks pretty smoothly, so trust them with that. LSU taking a step up. At number 9, I'm excited to see what they do. They got an early season matchup against Clemson, so that'll be exciting to see. Miami at 10. Maybe a little bit of a redemption season for them. Last year, they seemed like they were going to be the ACC's representative in the playoffs. Didn't end up happening. So very interested to see what happens with them. And I thought that's almost a pretty fair ranking with them. They got a lot of talent. You do lose Cam Ward, though, so that's a little tough. That's the one reason this maybe is a little surprising to me. But overall, I feel pretty good about it. Next up, 11 through 15, we got Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan, and Florida. Looking at this, first of all, I know I might get some flack for this. I'm honestly a little bit of a doubter in Arizona State this year. Now, I still believe they very much deserve to be ranked. They're definitely one of the teams in contention for the Big 12 championship, but I honestly don't know if they should be the front runner. Just losing Scadaboo, that's a huge loss. I know they bring back a lot of production around him, but once again, that was a game changer. Like, even if you can, I don't know, have 2 running backs that can combine this year for just a little less than he had last year, he was just your guy. He was your rock. He was the guy you could always rely on every single game. He was your hero, your Superman. So I like losing him. We're really underestimating the effect he had last year. Also, as well, I think a lot of people are banking a little too hard on Sam Leavitt. Once again, Sam Leavitt, great athlete, good quarterback, but I think there's definitely going to be some growing pains for him having to adjust to not having a superstar on your team like that. So, yeah, I'm a doubter. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. We'll have to see. I'm also a little bit of a doubter in Illinois. I know they finished last season really strong, but I don't know. I just didn't see anything from them last season that made me think they were overly elite, and I don't see a whole lot from them coming into this season. I feel like this is probably, if I was to pick any team on this list and not be ranked by the end of the season, it would probably be them. All right, here we go. South Carolina, feel good about them. They were really good last season, ended it well. Michigan, they're coming off of a little bit of a mess season. Do bring in, what's his name, Bryce Underwood at quarterback, though. That could make a big difference. I'm excited to see how that goes for them. Next up, we got Florida. Honestly, I really like this one. Florida's been making a lot of good progress recently. They got a tough schedule, but if they can get through that, I could see them being a team in the playoffs, so I feel pretty good about that one. All right, next up, we got numbers 16 through 20. SMU, K-State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Indiana. My opinion on these, first of all, SMU, very deserving. They bring back Jennings and a whole lot of other critical pieces from that team that went to the playoffs last year. Kansas State, they get another year with Avery Johnson. He's a quarterback that has really high potential. Another year older and wiser. I could see him doing pretty well for them. They're just a really strong team. Like, let's remember, this team was a couple games away from being in the thick of the Big 12 title race last year. Here we go. Oklahoma. I'm pretty solid on that one. I agree with that. Texas A&M, I feel like this is, I don't know, a team that perpetually gets a lot of hype and then falls below. We'll have to see what they do this year. But yeah, I'm not taking that ranking too seriously. And then Indiana, good team, made the playoff last year. I respect that. Ole Miss, now jumping into 21 through 25. Ole Miss at number 21. Pretty solid. Feel good about it. They do lose Jackson Dart. But I feel like they could be really good. Iowa State at number 22. This has been a team that's kind of been steady for a few years. I don't know. I feel like they don't do one thing elitely. They just do like pretty much everything pretty good. So that's one of the, I don't know. There's something a little scary about that team is, there's not just one thing you need to shut down and you beat them. But at the same time, they don't have one thing that you have to fear all that much. So really interested to see what Iowa State does this year. Texas Tech is up next. So back-to-back BYU opponents listed right there. Their team bringing in a lot from the transfer portal. Honestly, I am buying into their transfer portal. They did a really nice job this offseason. And in this era of college football, it kind of feels like if you want to win games, you got to go to the transfer portal. So personally, I'm buying the hype. I think Texas Tech might even be the top team in the Big 12. We'll have to see. Next up, Tennessee. I feel like this is pretty fair. They did lose a lot of talent from last year, but this is a playoff team. And then Boise State at number 25. I see them rising. Honestly, not a whole lot of crazy challenging games, with the exception of a game against Notre Dame, kind of like mid-season. So, yeah, overall, I feel pretty solid about this 25. And then, of course, this is Kurt on Cougs, right? This isn't Kurt on college football as a whole, although I do cover that as well. Main focus here is the Cougs. And so, yeah, of course, where does BYU fit into all this? At number 26, right ahead of their rivals, the Utah Utes, at number 27. Overall, I think this is pretty decent. This is fair. I think they could be ranked, but I feel like a lot of people are definitely buying into the idea that BYU is going to take a big step back without Jake Retzlaff at quarterback. I personally feel that whoever's going to replace him should be able to get close to the type of production he put up last year, if not exceed it. So, but once again, I'm just speculating on that, so I totally get how others might not agree with my speculation at this point. But yeah, number 26, that's a good spot. If they do want to climb into the rankings, I've kind of pinpointed some games I think that if they go the right way for the Cougs, maybe BYU managed to jump someone in there. So first of all, one of the week 0 games, I think it's happening just like next week, which is crazy, so exciting. Iowa State versus K-State, Farmageddon. Iowa State ranked at number 22. I feel like, a loss to Kansas State probably doesn't knock them out, unless it's a big loss. So, going to cheer for the Wildcats in that one. If they can blow out Iowa State, then maybe BYU jumps them. Another possibility, Boise State taking on South Florida the Thursday of week 1. This is a decent South Florida team. They're not too bad. Boise State having to replace Genty this year. I don't know. They could be susceptible to a loss here. I'd still pick Boise State, but I could see it happening. Another one I like as a potential loss is Tennessee, number 24, taking on Syracuse. I still think Tennessee's going to win this one, but they are losing out. They did lose a lot of production coming into this year, so I don't think it's totally impossible. They get upset in that one by Syracuse. And then last of all, this one's a little weird, but Ole Miss, number 21, once again, they have to replace a lot, including Jackson Dart from last year, taking on Georgia State. And if any of y'all remember with me, back in 2019, week 1, Georgia State pulled off an upset over Tennessee. Now, once again, does that translate to this year? No, but you never know. It's a team we've seen do it before. Maybe they'll do it again. Either way, though, if the Cougars can just handle business and get wins in at least weeks 1 and 2, they should be ranked going into their matchup with East Carolina, which I'm really excited for. And then just one last note. Week 1 is going to be really fun. I'll try to do a little bit of a preview later, but we got 3 top 10 matchups. Which feature Texas, Ohio State, a 1 versus 3 matchup in what do they call it? The horseshoe over in Ohio State. So very exciting. I'm very excited for that one, as well as Miami taking on Notre Dame. That's a 6 versus 10 game, with Notre Dame being number 6, Miami being 10. We're excited to see how that one goes. And then a battle of the Death Valley Tigers of some sort. You got LSU taking on Clemson. That's another game I am so excited for. We got a loaded week 1. Honestly, a pretty decent week 0. College football season's coming up. Really excited about it. Really excited to see how this all goes. You know, we always come into the season with a preseason poll. By the end of the year, we look back, we laugh. There's always a lot of mistakes in there because we don't know the teams that well at this point. It's going to be exciting to see how it changes. Yeah. So, also, keep an eye on my channel going forward. I'm going to start making some shorts pretty soon here. Those will hopefully, I don't know, be able to cover a little more. Also, I'll do some segments I've typically done in longer videos. Kind of the idea is I just want shorter videos overall. I know it might not seem with how long this video has been today. But yeah, so watch for those. And in the meantime, go Cougs.